Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and it is Self-Care Wednesday. So I have the usual self-care ritual deck, and I have the Stress Reduction Essentials deck. Oh, look at that. I finally got that right. So I'm also going to repeat days 1 and 2 of gratitude from this week. So we'll see how, just as a refresher for that. Good morning, older sibling. And yeah, let's just jump right in and get started. I'll pull these first. Actually, you know what? Let's just do the refresher now of gratitude's day 1 and 2. Good morning, baby sibling. So happy hump day, hump day, hump day, hump day. So, like I said, I was going to do the refresher for gratitude's day 1 and 2 really quick. Then we'll jump right into Self-Care Wednesday. Day 1, Monday, was gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. So basically, when you are grateful for everything around you, it will, sorry, that's distracting. It will give you more to be grateful for. It'll give you more to, it'll help raise your vibe, okay? Like really help raise your vibe. And yesterday's was there, and that was from Zig Ziglar. So again, Zig Ziglar's quote from Monday, Gratitude Day 1, is gratitude is the healthiest of all emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. So remember, always be grateful, and you will always bring things into you to be grateful for. Number 2, day 2 of gratitude. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is though everything is a miracle. Albert Einstein. So again, it basically comes down to this. You can believe or you cannot believe. You can trust or you cannot trust. You can have faith or you cannot have faith. You can believe that all good things can come to you, or you can just continue in a cycle of whatever it is that you're in and just not. And that's okay if you choose that, as long as you're happy. But if you're not happy, really kind of think about that quote, okay? One is as though nothing is a miracle. So the sun just rises because it rises. The grass is just there because it's there. The water just, is there because it's there. Or the other is as though everything is a miracle. The sun does rise, and we're grateful for it to be rising because, like I mentioned yesterday, in the universe, everything has to be finely tuned for everything to work, for everything to really kind of fit in, to keep us, walking on this planet and not floating off of it, to keep us breathing the air that we breathe. Everything is finely tuned in this universe. And that in and of itself is a miracle. Whether you believe in that sort of thing or not, whatever you want to call it, it is in its own way a miracle. Because I don't think we ever really stop to think about where, the trees put off oxygen that helps us to breathe. But if one planet slips out of alignment, bam, it could throw everything into chaos. So it's, everything just works. It's like a body, right? The universe is like a human body. Everything has to work perfectly in order for that perfect health. Okay, so let's get right into our gratitude. I already shuffled, split the deck. Let's see what we got here. Why does this always happen to me? I am not in my head today, okay? I am having one of those days where I'm just kind of like, I just want to, I don't know. It's like a nope day, all right? And of course, the first thing that comes up, sex. Self-care. Have sex safely, okay? And with consent, please. That's not a joke. That is legit, all right? But but you know what? Sex is actually a form of self-care, which is funny because last week we got the pleasure card. But it is a form of self-care, and it could be with a partners, or solo. So whatever you choose, don't be ashamed of that, okay? This could also be a self-love card, and I don't mean it like self-love. I mean, in the sense that a lot of people won't explore the pleasure zones. A lot of people won't explore the sex as being some kind of self-care, tool. And it could be a self-care tool for a couple, but it's because they lack self-love, or they're ashamed of their bodies, or things have happened to them in their lives where, certain feelings trigger bad memories. Those are things that need to start being healed. And until those things start to get healed, it can be difficult. So, this card doesn't necessarily have to mean the act of, but maybe the appreciation of the art of sex, the appreciation and the art of, the pleasure zones. I know throwing art in there is probably throwing people off, but I mean in the sense that it can be a beautiful journey if you allow it to be. It can be a beautiful experience if you allow it to be. But if you have healing, then you need to figure out how to move past that so that you can, hurdle those obstacles and get into a place where, you can enjoy your body, where you can appreciate your body, where you can put it on a pedestal and say, hey, you know what? This, it isn't just about sex, but it's about appreciating your body from head to toe, loving yourself exactly for who you are in that moment, not who you want to be, not who you used to be, not any weight you used to be or any weight you're trying to get to, but who you are in this moment right now, and to no longer shame yourself. Okay, to just have complete and full respect for who you are and, the shell that carries you around. Let's see, alone time. Alone time with sex. Alone time. Nothing wrong with having alone time for self-care. Sometimes you just need that breather, right? You just need that that breath in, that breath out, and just the quiet around you, I know it does show the beach. Not everybody's able to get to the beach, but if you have a favorite place where you do enjoy to go, or do enjoy going to just kind of regather, to regroup, then, try to make a plan to go out there. Or, you could even have your, even if there's a house full of people, just, tell your people, look, I need 5 minutes to myself. Don't bother me. Don't this, don't that. We'll set an alarm if you have to, so you don't panic after 5 minutes. But just, enough time, whatever time you need to take a breath. I sometimes will, even if I'm at a party, sometimes you just need that breather, right? And there'll be times when I'll just disappear. Most times, there might be, someone eventually will come out looking for me because I lose track of time, but I'm just enjoying that moment, that breathing in and breathing out, and just, being in tune with myself. And if you do get stressed in, large groups of people situations, it's okay to step away. It's okay to step away and take a deep breath. All right. So, let's see. I know. I'm trying, I always try to pick the cards that feel like they're going to vibe for the self-care, because self-care it's so important. It is so important. It's, we can talk about energy work, beauty ritual came up, and energy work. And a beauty ritual, it could be a massage, it could be whatever it is that you want it to be. Maybe you want to go out and have just a spa day, right? And guys, that goes for you too, okay? Men get mani-pedis. Energy work, if you're into Reiki, or just even meditating, breathe in the light, breathe out the negativity. So, create art. I like this one. Create art. I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I have so many pens and markers and pencils, and yes, I even have a box of crayons. Because I love color. I don't wear a lot of color, which contrary to popular belief, because, high color. But I do like to look at colors. I mean, look, even the inside of this box, it keeps catching the corner of my eye. But look how pretty that is. I mean, it's just colors, right? I mean, she's sleeping and laying down doing her thing, and I know it's kind of hard to see with the light shining right on it, but if I turn it a little bit this way, you can see how vibrant these colors are, and it's a lot about that. If you're feeling stressed, sometimes just take something. You don't have to draw anything. You could I just make random shapes random shapes and sizes. And then I just color them in. And sometimes my outline will not match what I color it in with. But it's just something to get out of me. You could draw rainbows. Nobody is going to be grading you. No one's going to be judging you. Sometimes when we go out and look at art, we think, okay, I appreciate all kinds of art. But sometimes art, it's like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be art. So, and it's not meant to be mean. But the thing is somebody had a vision. Somebody thought, okay, I see this in my head and I'm going to put it out there. And a lot of times they'll do regular things and start slowly edging into what, makes them happy, brings them joy. But as they're doing the regular things, moving into what their real art form will end up being, they're collecting people along the way. And they're kind of, preparing people for like, oh, well, here's 50 trash cans piled on top of each other, but it's art. And no, I'm not making fun of it. It might seem like I am, and maybe in a small way. And not because I'm making fun of the artist, but because there are certain things. There's a certain story that older sibling told me a long time ago, and it just always sticks in my head. And it was on the top of I don't know what building it was. If it was, remind me, older sibling, since you're on, if it was the CBS building or something. And she pointed up there and said, oh, somebody forgot their ladders up there. Because she thought they were doing work on top of the building. And somebody told her, oh no, that's art. So it's just the way she said it. But you know what? Here's the thing. And I'm being honest. I love going to museums. I love going to art galleries. I love seeing what people come up with, even if it doesn't make sense to me, because those ladders might have meant somewhere. They could have been the stairway to heaven. Maybe that's what they called it, but we don't know because nobody can get up there to actually see it. It just looks like equipment. I saw another picture on the news. Oh, KTTV. So Channel 11 out here in LA. So, there was another thing I saw just on a shot in the background. I'm like, is that art? And it was interesting because it was just all this random stuff that looked like a bird. Like it looked like it was in the shape of a bird. And I don't know if it was meant to be or not. But you know what? What that could have meant was, because it did, I don't want to say garbage, that it looked like garbage, because that just sounds rude to me. But it really was, it looked like discarded things that was turned into the shape of a bird. And for all we know, they may have said, these are our polluted skies. This is what the birds have to fly through. It's not just humans on the ground, but our nature has to fly through these things. Trees can only filter so much. So, just try to keep your mind open. And, when you see something that you don't understand, just try to keep your mind open. Now, for you, sometimes creating art can be very stress relieving. Even if you're just doing random colors, just don't judge yourself. Okay, there's always a meaning behind something. There's always going to be somebody who has a vision in their head, an idea in their head of what something should be. Sometimes I look back on my doodles, which is exactly what they are. They're just doodles. And I think, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I bet it made me feel better. So, and that's why, just appreciate art. I appreciate art. I think one of the reasons I really appreciate art is because a lot of times I see things in my head, but I can't execute them on paper or on canvas. When I was in art class in my senior year, I literally got 2 A's for being in Art 1 and Art 2, which were just, Art 1 was a semester, Art 2 was another semester. And I'll be honest with you, I asked my teacher, why are you giving me an A? And he's all, because of effort. He's all, because no matter what, he's all, you know that your artistry is more in writing than it is in visual arts. But he's all, you never stopped trying. You always gave it your all. And that's all, and I like that. I like the fact that he was grading me on effort. Thank goodness, or I might have failed that class. Maybe come out with a very struggling C. But and that's not to put myself down. Come on, guys. Even I have eyeballs. All right, but it was because of effort. So create. Okay, and if you struggle with writing, keep creating until you feel good about it. Just write down. Somebody said, "Well, I don't know how to write poems." They're words. They are words. And it's not to say that it doesn't have some kind of talent behind it. But if you look at 5 different poetry books, I can almost guarantee you that there are going to be poems in there that match nothing that the other 5 books have. They might just be words. One time I wrote a poem and all I wrote it about words. That was it, just words. And somebody loved it, and I just looked at them like, are you insane? It's just words. They're all, yeah. But it's like, it was an art to them. It was like abstract art to them. Because those words were all my feelings in that moment. But it was just like a vortex of emotions that were just spilling out onto this paper. But somebody else saw what I couldn't see, and I was the one that wrote it. So see, just go for it. Don't worry about what other people are going to think. I really need to remind myself of that. Life would be probably a lot easier if I just listened to my own advice. So family, lean into family. Tell your loved ones you love them. Maybe you haven't talked to somebody in a while, or like, I'm trying to think, because I was going to say my dad, but I just talked to him on Friday. But I text him every morning. But, lean into family, whether it's your given family or family that, your family of your heart, not necessarily your blood. Just lean into them. Tell them you love them, just give them some time. Even if it's just a text saying, hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you're well. Believe it or not, that can actually be a form of self-care, because, you're reaching out and you might be making somebody's day without even realizing it. All right. So, journal, my favorite, not everybody's favorite, but my favorite, journaling. I love to journal. In fact, today I started journaling, and I think I have a lot of crap that still needs to come out of me, because I found myself really getting distracted. I found myself trying to focus on everything but my actual journal writing, until time got so far away from me that I couldn't, I didn't have time because I had to get ready for this. So a lot of times we never know what to write in our journals. I don't just journal in my journal, I doodle. You don't have to just put words in there. It could be, maybe you just feel like doodling one day. Maybe that's all your brain can handle. Maybe you just feel like drawing shapes or doing whatever. This isn't the best example of my journals because my other ones had so much stuff in it. But here's my terrible drawing. It's a table. And a friend of mine was trying to express to me how life is like a table, the 4 legs of a table. It's health, money, family, friends, and love. So health and money are 2 legs. Family, friends is another leg, and love is the 4th leg. And he was trying to explain to me how, life is like that. And this is the same friend I told you that I was talking about. And it's the one that reconnected with his wife, or reconnected with his friend, who is now his wife. But he was explaining to me how he tried to look at life, because that's how it was explained to him. And when he started focusing, not so much on one leg of that table, which is love, like trying to find it in someone. And he started focusing on, his career and his health. The other 2 started to fall into place, the love and the family. And now he says, as he says to me, my table's not as wobbly anymore. It's stable, because, he worked on other things. He didn't just focus on one leg of that table. So see, crappy drawings, but, that's just a notebook. I call it the floof notebook. My actual journal currently, where I do my gratitude right now, is this one. So it's a traditional journal. But you know what? I guess what I'm trying to make my point on is that journals don't necessarily have to be fancy $20 whatever. Okay, bye baby sibling. Bye Landon. So, they don't have to be fancy books. They can be anything. Anything. You could be loose leaf paper in a binder, whatever you want it to be. As long as you're getting whatever it is you have to get up and out of you. That's what's important, is getting it up and out of you. When you get it out of you, you're able to heal it. You're able to see it and heal it. Okay? So, let's do one more, and then we'll move to the essentials deck. So, let's see. I'm trying to find one. Oh, this one fell out of the deck. Meditate. Meditate. Not a bad one. I know it's not always easy, guys. Meditating isn't always easy. A lot of people will sit there and they'll be like, oh, I got nothing but chatter in my head, or what if I fall asleep? It doesn't matter if you fall asleep, okay? I know that it takes practice, but for those who really want to really give it a shot at meditating, one of the things I've learned is this. Try to think of a place that brings you peace. So if, maybe you're having a bad day, you go to maybe you go driving up into a mountain pass, or maybe you go to the beach, or maybe there's just this really pretty, green field with trees or something where you go to. Imagine yourself sitting calmly and peacefully there. Then slowly imagine yourself, doing your breaths in and your breaths out, your breaths in and your breaths out. And then, and not fast ones, guys, okay? There are several ways to do this. If you're first starting, I would work up to the count of 8. I'm actually at the count of 8, hold for 8, release at 8. But a lot of times people will say start at 4, 6, 7, 8, whatever is comfortable for you. And just do that until you kind of feel calm. Now, don't overdo it because you don't want to hyperventilate. Then just imagine yourself in a very peaceful place. Imagine yourself maybe sitting under a tree in tall grass where there's just nothing but peaceful, a peaceful surrounding, peace surrounding you. Maybe there's a breeze coming through, and a lot of times with tall grass, you can hear the breeze, right? Going over through the plants and everything, or even in the trees. And, maybe that helps calm you down. I'm sharing my happy place, is literally in a big field with lots and lots of pretty flowers under a big, big shade tree. Never actually physically been to a place like this. I love the beach. I do. And it's one of my happy places. But for some reason, whenever I meditate, I always go to this place because it always seems to calm me down. And just imagine yourself in your vision meditating. And as you start to focus more on yourself and the fact that you're meditating, you start to clear your mind. Your mind starts to go quiet. Now, it's not going to always happen overnight like that, right? It's going to take some time. And if it doesn't, then you know what? Good for you. That's okay. Because for some people, they just get it right off the bat. Other people, it takes time because there's so much chatter in the background. There's so much background chatter. And that's what meditating is. For me, that's my perspective. It's trying to quiet the chatter. It's trying to make room for the messages that are trying to come to you, either from, your guides, if that's your thing, your source, or from your spidey instincts. If you're asking for an answer, you have to have enough clarity to hear that answer. And that's what meditation can do. It can give you that clarity you need to just relax, calm down, and leave yourself open for those answers. And don't second guess yourself. Sometimes you might hear something, go, yeah, right. If it's in your head and you have a clear mind, it could be your inner self saying, hey, why not? So don't judge it. Don't question it. Just listen. And then when you're done meditating, just open your eyes and write down as much as you can remember. And remember, guys, you don't have to sit there for 5 billion hours meditating. Some people meditate for 5 minutes and then they're good to go. 10 minutes is about my thing. And then sometimes they get sleepy, or sometimes I've actually fallen asleep if I'm laying down meditating. But that's okay too. A lot of times it's good at night. That actually helps you clear your brain. So, and sometimes that will help you fall asleep because you don't have all that chatter. You don't have all that stuff keeping you awake, just yammering in your head. So let's see. Or stress reduction essentials deck. Yoga. I've never tried yoga. I've always wanted to try yoga. Not because it looks cool, or because Sissy, a billion years ago before she passed away, gave me a yoga mat, but it just looks very calm and relaxing. And this shit can get you fit. Seriously. I mean, you learn to do yoga right, you're not only mindful, you're in shape. or you're very limber. And I think that's what I've always wanted to be. I was always kind of miffed at the fact that I was one of the only people I've ever known in my life that can't do the splits. So, and I'm not saying you'll be able to after you do yoga, but what I'm saying is yoga can be very mindful. It's for anybody. Don't worry about your size or your shape or whatever. Just, it's for everybody. And, there's beginner classes if you're too shy to do it in front of people. And I say this with care. They do have YouTube channels. They do have videos out there. Just be careful, okay? Because you don't have an actual instructor there to tell you if you're doing it wrong or right. So try to follow it to a T. All right? So yoga. Yoga is a beautiful mind-body mindfulness practice. It improves your overall fitness, prompting relaxation and balance. And they don't just mean balance of physical balance. They mean mental balance too. So, there's this one, which I'm not sure what the picture has to do with the actual thing, but it says weighted blanket. Weighted blankets are a welcome, soothing support in times of unease. A weighted blanket simulates a comforting hug, helping to calm and settle the nervous system. I 100% believe that. So a lot of people will sit there and say, why do I want a weighted blanket? It's too hot. Maybe right now because it's towards summer. It's too hot. It's too this. It's too that. I never really thought about it because older sibling owns a weighted blanket. I do not. However, a couple years ago, Bestie, he knitted me a very heavy, or I should say crocheted me a very heavy blanket of the U.S. flag. I'm very patriotic, okay, of the U.S. flag. And he's like, I know how patriotic you are, and la la la. And so he made me this blanket, which I absolutely love. And one day I was just not doing well. My brain was worse than it really is right now. I mean, I'm really fighting it off. I've learned to validate my feelings so that these things don't last that long, which is why I'm able to function right now. But I just remember crawling into bed, and it was a little chilly. So I pulled the blanket over me, and I actually had it over a different blanket. And it just felt so heavy. And it just, all of a sudden, the next thing I know, it's an hour later and I'm waking up. Because it was very comforting. It helped so much. It just felt like a big warm hug. And, sometimes that's what the weighted blankets can do. They can just give you that sense of calm. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it's supposed to kind of represent that tightness and that warmth that you felt in the womb. So it's more like a way back trigger memory that's trying to just, prompt you and give you that comfort. Okay, so the self-care practice. Find a weighted blanket that fits your body size and weight. It is important to consider the weight of the blanket in relation to your own. When you begin to feel uneasy, cuddle up in your cozy weighted blanket, tucking yourself up in it. Preparing something delicious and warm to drink, turn on your favorite funny movie or grab a positive book. Allow the unwanted emotions to slip away while you lovingly practice self-care. The combination of a distraction, a warm drink you enjoy, and the weighted blanket is perfect for soothing and comforting. Now, that's not always going to work, right? You're going to be like, I don't have maybe you're not in a place where you're even functional enough to make something to drink or to grab a book or to put on a movie. But it is very important that you find the perfect blanket for your size and weight. Okay? I mean, you don't want to be 6'2" and have this, 4x5 blanket. That's not going to do squat for you. Okay? So, and you don't want to be like, maybe you're like 125 pounds, but your blanket is made for someone who's 200 pounds. You're going to feel suffocated. So be sure to check these things out. Okay. Be sure to make sure that it fits you so that it's not giving you anxiety or adding to it. All right. So mindfulness. This is a good one. There's like a theme here. Mindfulness helps to slow down and engage with the present moment. It brings attention to bodily situations such as breathing and flow of energy within the body or sounds around us. It teaches us how to respond to stressors with awareness. Awareness leads to adaptive reactions to stressful situations. Awareness of our emotions supports us to open up and accept. It also pre-trains our frequency for better experiences to come into our existence. I know I kind of tripped over that one. These are not the best glasses to read print that tiny. So anyways, I'll read it one more time. Mindfulness helps to slow down and engage with the present moment. It brings attention to bodily sensations such as breathing and flow of energy within the body or sounds around us. It teaches us how to respond to stressors with awareness. Awareness leads to adaptive reactions to stressful situations. I feel like they just repeated themselves, but with different words. Awareness of our emotions support us to open up and accept. It also pre-trains our frequency for better experiences to come into our existence. So mindfulness is a lot like meditation. What you're trying to do is get into that quiet place in your mind so you can figure out how to adapt to certain stressful situations. It's to, again, if you are one of these people that doesn't like being in a super crowded room, mindfulness is standing there, because you can't really leave. Maybe you don't have that option. You're standing there holding your drink. You can literally talk to somebody and at the same time just start doing mindful breathing exercises. People didn't even have to notice. You don't have to do, because then they might think, oh, am I boring you? You could just, I know you can't really hear me, but you could just do your breathing in and out. You can just, and if somebody asks, just say, you know what? Oh, it's a very tight room, having a little trouble breathing, but I'm okay. And that's only if you're comfortable. But mindfulness is getting out of your stress and getting back into your heart. It's getting out of your mind and into your heart and reminding yourself that you are strong. You're a strong badass and you can survive anything. You can make it through anything. And that in that moment, you will also make it through that because you've done it before and you know it. So, here's the last one. Happy place. Developing your happy place is a wonderful way to promote ease, safety, and calm. It also retrains your vibrational set point to a higher frequency. This takes repetition, but is absolutely worth it. So you can use mindfulness, your weighted blanket, all these things. Even just the visual I gave you, if you can't think of one for yourself at first, that could be your happy place. A place that, developing that, happy place is a wonderful way to promote ease, safety, and calm. So, if you're, think about it really hard, okay? And that way, when you are in stressful situations, you don't even have to go into meditation or go into, extreme mindfulness. When you get used to seeing your happy place in stressful situations, it's going to become almost like that. It's going to become almost instant, where all you have to do is think about it and your body's going to know how to react. Your body's going to respond to that. So really write down, even if you're not a person that journals, even if you're not a person that journals, I highly, highly recommend it. It's a good place to get all that chatter out of your head, even if it doesn't make sense. Just write it in a book. I know people who don't like to keep journals because other people in their past have violated their privacy. And I can't tell you enough how horrible I think that is. Don't violate other people's privacy. I mean, if you're worried about someone, that's one thing. If you're concerned that maybe they're going to hurt someone or hurt you or whatever, or even more importantly, themselves, that's understandable. But if it's just to be nosy, don't. I have a friend who hates journaling and gets triggered by it because her mother read her journal and then told everybody else about it. Not me. Okay, not me. I don't know if my mother ever read my journal or not. If she did, she never told me. But not much to see. But yeah, if she did, she never told me. But don't violate someone else's privacy. If you go in there, there's nothing to worry about, but you're still worried about them. Just keep an eye on them. Maybe ask them, hey, do you need to talk? I'm worried because you're not your normal self. And maybe what they're looking for is just someone to talk to. A lot of times people won't always share what they're feeling on the inside in their journals because they're also afraid of being judged by themselves. They're afraid that if they read back, it's like, God, I was so messed up. I have journals. I mean, this is my third floof journal. And I notice for all the icky shit that comes out of me, I mean, like, just of how I feel about myself, it's helping my personal growth. And I look back, and instead of shaming myself like I did the very first time I read back on the first journal that I started back in November, the first floof journal I started in November, I look back now and I think I have come a long way in such a short amount of time. You know, and that's because I'm learning to just let it all out. And I'm not judging myself. These are all the things that I don't want in me anymore because they don't serve my higher purpose. They don't serve me. Maybe they helped me get through a certain part of my life. You know, maybe they didn't. Maybe they held me back in certain parts of my life, but that's not who I am anymore. And those are anchors that I had to let go of. And again, if you're going to look back, my mom always says, don't look back, you're not going that way. And I think that's a very, very good rule when you're first really on your journey of healing. Because if you keep looking back, you're going to keep thinking, oh, but that was so much safer. That was so much safer. I mean, this morning I was in such a bad headspace that I actually told myself, sometimes I wish I never got into this phase of healing because everything seemed so much easier before I did. I was trying to convince myself that I was happy living a mundane, not going anywhere life, which isn't true. Yes, the struggle is super real right now. I mean, finances are so tight, it's not even funny. But I am in a better headspace now. I am a lot happier now. And yes, I talked about not being in a good place, you know, mentally, but that doesn't mean I'm not in a good place, you know, overall. Because even though this is struggling right now, the noodle is having a little bit of trouble, I am aware of it now. And I know what I need to do to kind of, you know, put the red light on it and say, okay, this is where we stop and take a breath. You know, take a breath, get back into our head correctly, you know, calm the fuck down. I know, sorry. I would never tell anybody that. That you were looking for a punch in the face if somebody says that to somebody else. Calm down. I hate that. Calm down. Just calm down. When has that ever worked? Seriously, I heard that in a show yesterday, and every time I hear that line when I see that episode, I just laugh because it's like, yeah, when has that ever worked? When is telling someone to calm down ever work? Or just relax. It's like, you know, how about take a deep breath? You know, just take a deep breath. You know, you just take a second to take a deep breath. Because sometimes that's what we need. Sometimes we're so wound up we don't even realize we're not breathing correctly. But I will tell you this. There have been times an older sibling has seen that I'm just like a chicken without a head. And she'll just be like, are you okay? And it's like, I'm not sure. And then she's like, you know what? Just sit down and take a deep breath really quick. You know, just take as many as you need. And there are times when I've caught myself, you know, even in traffic, where I'll remind myself, you know, and I'll just take this deep, deep breath and then I'll exhale. And sometimes the first one doesn't work. So I'll do as many as I need to until I am mindful of that breath. If you are mindful on your first breath, you are probably going to start feeling better. But sometimes it takes a few to get out of our own heads and back into our hearts and to remind ourselves, hey. And you know what? The funny thing is, that's the one thing I forgot to remind myself to do when I started feeling myself kind of spiraling. And what I love about where I'm at now is even though I complained to myself this morning about, you know, healing and everything, I'm glad I did. Because I am in a place now where I don't spiral terribly like I used to. And it's still new ground for me. I'm still breaking new ground on this. But I have found that I can get so much farther ahead of my mental health now because of my healing. And sometimes when we're stuck in that cycle, that mental health loop, you know, I mean, I'm always going to have a dinged up mental health. but I'm learning how to balance it. I'm learning how to maintain it and nurture it and take care of it. And that's something I was never able to do in the past. And I do feel for those that struggle and may never find that balance. And I hope they do. I truly hope they do. I am grateful because even though to a regular person, I don't mean that in a mean way, but to a regular person who doesn't have mental health issues, I may seem like I'm not in a good place. I may seem like I'm doing bad. But then there's always people that are worse off than I am. There's always somebody who's got those multiple diagnoses. I only have one. I have diagnosed 20 some odd years ago with major depressive disorder. And which is kind of common. It's like the common one. But I finally, after decades, got it to a place where now I can see it coming. And I know if I can, anybody else can. And it's not an easy road. Sometimes you're going to want to throw in the towel and think, F this, I can't do this. Instead of throwing in the towel, just do me this one favor. Take a moment. Take as many moments as you need. Healing doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes when we feel like we're getting bogged down, it's because our bodies are telling us, look, I'm a little overwhelmed right now, or your brain even is telling you, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. We need to take a break. We need to take a break. And that's when you can journal and figure out, what is this obstacle I can't seem to get over? Because, it all comes down to that. At some point you start to realize, oh, the reason I'm not moving forward and I'm getting so frustrated is because there's a new trigger. And it's not necessarily new, but it's new to you because it's something that you're discovering. Healing is like an onion, right? I mean, they talk about people being like an onion. Healing is like an onion. You're constantly pulling layer after layer after layer after layer, or like phyllo dough. Anybody worked with phyllo dough? Layers and layers of very, very fragile dough, right? It's paper thin and it's fragile. And sometimes you pull off 3 layers and you think, crap, now I got to peel these apart. And sometimes that's going to happen. You're going to pull up something that's going to be several layers deep, and you're going to have to heal all those. You're going to have to separate all those out and heal them one at a time. And yeah, I know I'm making it sound scary and daunting and spooky and all that other crap. I'm thinking, Shelly Marie, why would I want to do this? Because it's worth it. Because it's worth it in the end. It's worth it when you get to this place that I finally got to, that I will tell you, when I was first diagnosed with depression 26 years ago, there's no way in my mind I would have ever thought I'd be here. And I'll be honest with you, I wasted 20 of those years trying to pretend I didn't have depression. Even when I had someone in my life who has depression, and was trying to help me, I kept denying it. And I kept denying it, and I kept denying it until I got so low that for the 4th time, I contemplated taking my own life. But now I'm here. And my goal is to do the best I can, even if it's just one life that gets saved. That's one more than 0. Right? So, it doesn't matter where you are on your healing. You can help other people. You can help other people onto the path. You can help people through their path. You can't force people to get on their path. But if they need a hand and they're reaching out to you, say, okay, hey, welcome to the journey. I'm here because I get it. No matter where you are in your stage of healing. At some point, we all suffer through the same things. And, no matter what your diagnosis is. We all face that darkness that's so real that sometimes when we do hit the light, when we finally get to that point where we hit the light, we forget how bad the darkness was. And I did that for a while. I was so excited that, I thought, yeah, I'm finally in the light. Look what I did. I made it feel in my own mind like I just ran towards it and embraced it like I was in some kind of marathon running past that ribbon, right? The first one past that ribbon. But after I saw a comment someone made on Twitter, just a tweet, I really started thinking about it. I'm like, Jesus, it wasn't that glorious. I literally felt like I rolled down a hill and, this hill of darkness and, hit a rock and, just kind of catapulted right into the light. And when I kind of lifted my head, it's kind of like, whoo, what happened? But, oh, everything looks so different now. I can see things. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of having traveled through the darkness. I'm not ashamed of the way I tripped into the light. Because I got there. And a lot of the reason I got there is through self-care. It's through self-love. It's learning the stressful reduction stuff. The stress reduction stuff. It's learning how to be mindful. I'm not great at meditating. I'm not going to lie. I'm not. But I found my own way to do it. Because what it's truly about is just calming the voices in your head. It's getting into a place of mindfulness. And if you need to find a happy place to do that, like I said, work on your happy place, work on your happy place, work on your happy place. Then when you start to meditate or just try to do your deep breath, maybe just take 5 minutes or a few minutes every morning, even if you're first waking up. Picture your happy place. Maybe do 4 or 5 inhales and exhales. Just focusing on your breathing and your happy place. And then if you get into a stressful situation, think of your happy place and see if it works. And if it doesn't, keep doing it. Keep practicing that mindfulness. Keep practicing that happy place. I wouldn't pick to start more than 1 or 2. Okay? Because you don't want to get overwhelmed with, oh my God, what happy place should I go to? Which one's the best one? Start with 1 or 2. Okay? Mine is the beach or that big field with the big tree. And the big field with the big tree is really my primary one. That's my go-to. It's almost like the Sting song, right? The fields of gold. All right. And that's just it. It's like just sitting in like a sea of beautifully colored flowers and just kind of feeling nestled within them under that big shade tree. And if you want to be in the sun, that's okay. The sun and I, we kind of have a love-hate relationship. So I get heat stroke and sunstroke really, really easily. So, well, not super easily, but easy enough. So, while I do enjoy being out in the warmth of the sun, I also like to stay protected. Hence the shade tree. So now you know another fun fact about me. But I would just try that, okay? So, I hope that's helpful for everybody. I hope everybody has a great day. Just to recap really quick on the self-care rituals. You can meditate, find your happy place, journal. I highly recommend this, even if it's with a cheap $2 notebook from the grocery store. Okay, and don't worry about the lines. This one is college rule. The last one I had was wide rule because I wasn't paying attention. I just like the color of the notebook color, right? Like when you're 10 going school supply shopping. But just something to write in. The reason I picked these notebooks and not just a journal is because I do like to doodle when I'm going through stuff. And this gives me the perfect place to do this. Okay, don't judge yourself. Don't shame yourself. Just enjoy whatever it is that you're putting in that book and knowing that it is coming out of you and it is healing. And if you so choose to, a lot of people do what they call a burn ritual. And in a very safe place, okay, like a barbecue or something, they will burn these books. And they'll just send it off into the powers that be. It's like letting go. So, family, lean into your family if you need them. If you need love, support, help, or someone to listen to, lean into your family. And that could be adoptive family. By that, I mean, your soul family. Or it could be your DNA family, which can also be your soul family, but you know what I'm saying, right? Create art. Doodling is still art. Have alone time if you need to. And if you're a couple or alone, just remember, sex is also a form of self-care. It's a form of pleasure. It's a form of getting to know your body. If you struggle with how you feel about your body, that may be the perfect way to get there because self-care will equal self-love. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging in there for Self-Care Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're back to day 3 of gratitude for the 28 days of gratitude. And that'll be at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which is California time, on Facebook Live, right here on Facebook Live. All the lives are public, so anybody can watch. You can find me under Shelly Marie Lucas. Shelly Marie is one word. Only one E in Shelly, thank you. But Shelly Marie Lucas. Or I do upload these afterwards to YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.